I'm a man. I'm 40.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're going to get.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are what we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
I mean, listen, we talking about practice.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the next episode of the Are We Recording podcast. I'm here today with we got a packed house. Brad's back like he never ever left in the first place. How are we doing tonight, Bradley?
Living La Vida Loca, man.
Is that who is that? Who said that?
Tupac.
Okay, good start. Ryan, Nebraska still has internet, I see.
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, good. I was getting worried for a second. You almost didn't show up. Josh, how is everything?
I'm doing great. Two things first. I think you skipped over me on evaluating Florida's recruiting class the last podcast.
Did I?
But it's okay. I don't want to bore you with all the 4 and 5 stars, so that's a little different with you guys.
I think it's. Oh, go ahead. No, man. My bad. I'm sorry.
I
was gonna say because everyone else in the world's a Florida fan, so you'd think that just everybody knew that stuff already. That's why I skipped you.
And shout out to Kanye West, college dropout.
That's right. We should do the outro music today. Some college dropout.
Ooh, I like
we
that.
should. I just thought of that right now.
I'll get that set up.
Do that. Let's see. Chris 2.0. How are we doing?
I can't complain except that right now, because we're in the taint of the sports year, that I am suffering through a Boston Celtics versus Milwaukee Bucks game, and I don't wish this upon anybody. I really don't.
Who's playing worse? Is there a way to tell?
Well, the Bucks are losing, so I'm going to go. The Celtics
by losing, do you mean they're winning, or?
I don't know, man. There's just a lot of white guys on the court for an NBA game, and I'm starting to get really frustrated.
Yeah, listen, this is the most depressing basketball season I've gone through.
I feel like I'm watching a friggin' North Carolina versus Indiana game, college basketball with the Hansbrough brothers and stuff like that. It's just terrible.
Fundamentals.
And
terrible fundamentals at that.
Yeah, Chris 1.0. How are we? How's Portland? Still cold?
Kind of cold. I almost couldn't get home tonight because of police action on my street.
Really?
Really.
What was that? What happened?
I don't know what they were doing. They must have been executing a warrant or something for some guy's arrest, and I was told by some guy with a rifle to back up.
Holy
so
Jesus.
I did. I went to the corner, and then I was like, can I go around this block and get home? And they're like, yeah, you should be fine if you do that. So I managed to make it home, but...
And thank God
I don't
for that.
think you understand. I have a podcast to record.
Yeah, you should have been like, I'm part of the Are We Recording podcast, and then they would have been like,
right this way.
Oh, my bad. Let's escort you.
Police escort.
Here's a rifle in case you get into any trouble on the way.
Would have picked you up like Jared Lorenzen.
Yeah. Oh, did you guys? How sad is that? That's
that is awesome. That's
just
so
when
awesome.
people were finding out what the hell that league even was, he has to go down.
The quickest rise and fall in sports.
That's.
I don't know, dude. That dude falling down is probably pretty slow.
Mass falling pretty quickly.
Yes.
That dude went down a ton of bricks.
Big tree could fall down. No, that's not the saying. What's the saying with the tree?
Big tree fall hard.
Yeah, something like that.
Close enough.
Let's move on from that. I just want to give a quick shout out. I don't know if any of you guys watched the Beatles special, but I thought it was absolutely amazing. So if any of you listeners out there have not seen it, I would recommend searching for it on the vast expanses of the internet. I'm sure you can find it. Did you guys? Anybody else watch that?
I did not, but I wanted to, and then I forgot to DVR it, so
Shucks.
screwed up big time.
Check the internet. I'm sure it's there somewhere. You can find
I
anything.
flipped it over in time to see Pharrell and Brad Paisley and bailed just about as quick as I flipped it over.
I don't know. Pharrell didn't do too bad. I thought he did better than the country guy.
Guys, Pharrell just wants to be happy. Let him be, all right?
No, but honestly, though, the best performance of the night was easily the Alicia Keys John Legend one. I almost cried. Actually, I believe I did cry. I don't know. I'd have to recheck.
What did they cover?
They did Let It Be. And
that
my
sounds like
mom.
it'd be, that just sounds like it would be good. Like,
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And my mom, shout out my mom, by the way. It's her birthday today. Well, it's tomorrow, but today will be the day that this is released. It's her birthday, so happy birthday to the most beautiful woman on the planet.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Mom.
Brian's mom.
That's
Shout
right.
out Mama Batty.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into some sports here. Everyone saw the Marcus Smart incident. He pushed a fan. A fan was apparently saying some not so nice things to him, and he took it upon himself to shove said fan. The guy's name is Jeff Ora. I guess he's a Texas Tech super fan. He's at all the games and stuff. I don't know. I didn't even know Texas Tech had a basketball team until then. Big 12 basketball isn't my forte. I don't know if you've been paying attention. But let's get some general reactions. For this situation. Let's start with Brad, and then just everybody jump in when you want to.
Well, I think the thing to point out here is that superfan is like a 60-year-old dude yelling at teenagers. I think that's just the most disgusting part of the whole thing. I mean, yeah, Smart shouldn't have shoved him, but I mean, just both parties. Nobody looks good coming out of this.
Yeah.
I'll kind of go ahead, Josh.
This is so polite today.
I know. This is gonna change it now. He originally said he got called the N-word, and I kind of thought that too. Yeah, I thought that too. The way he reacted so quickly, with not even like while the guy was behind him, and then you see this GoPro video come out where it actually kind of comes out where you hear "you piece of crap," and you can kind of hear that. So I don't know what was said, and there was still a moment where it was kind of gray area, but if you just called him a piece of crap and reacted like that, that's a bit ridiculous, and I don't know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, there was probably a build-up to that. I'm imagining that's not the only thing he said to him all night.
Like him not playing well this whole year?
Well,
Marcus Smart?
he was probably giving him the business the whole night. But from my standpoint, I've been a fan at many Nebraska events, and I know that I've said some unsavory things towards certain student athletes that have played Nebraska, and you know, I said on Twitter Saturday night when it happened, I said part of me wants to, say, what Marcus Smart did was unbelievably dumb, because it was, but part of me also thinks about the things that I've said at events, and I think those things are unbelievably dumb, but in the heat of the moment I thought that's probably a thing I should say. And so I think from the point of the fan, you want to get into a guy's head because that's kind of the whole reason to be there. But if you're taking it to a personal level, which I think that fan did just with the "you're a piece of crap" or whatever he said line, I think that's kind of where you're crossing the line. Especially like Brad said, he's at least in his 50s it looks like, and he's taunting a college kid. This isn't a paid athlete, but I just think that when you take it to a personal level and you're a much older gentleman than the players on the court, then that's not a good thing.
It's tough for, I think, looking at this situation, because outside of Ron Artest a few years ago, you don't see this all that often. And there's no precedent has been set about what a suspension should be, and like how he's supposed to react. And obviously, pushing this guy Jeff Orr was stupid on Marcus's part. But I think the thing is, when you're a fan, like, you're gonna say stuff to agitate the opposition, and more often than not, you're not going to get a guy that close to your face. So I think this guy, Mr. Orr, kind of took it upon himself to say whatever he said, whether it be racial or, like Josh said, it could just be, you piece of crap. And maybe Marcus Smart overreacted, maybe he didn't. And I don't know if the truth will ever come out. So it's kind of weird to, like, be on the outside looking in on this and say somebody was right and somebody was wrong. Yeah, Marcus Smart was wrong to put his hands on that guy, but until we actually know what was said to Marcus, like, it's kind of hard to pick a side here. It's really tough to stay neutral, in my opinion.
Chris, what do you got? OG.
I kind of agree with the other Chris, but also at the same time, it's not exactly like the Ron Artest thing. Marcus Smart did not really leave the court to go push this guy. He was kind of taken off the court based on what could happen in the play. And also, at the same time, that's not really a normal sure people shout things at fans shout things at players all the time, but they're usually on the court and the fans are in the stands. He kind of was up close to his face when he said it, which that could be kind of escalating things anyway right there, where it seems like a lot of the time when somebody dives off the court into the stands, instead of taunting them at that point, they just kind of either help them get back up on the court or just let him keep playing. So that was kind of a weird situation anyway.
Well, I just want to go back to something Ryan said. Is you said you've attended many Nebraska games and you said you've yelled some stuff at fans, but the only difference is you were a student and also of the same age. This guy was, an older guy. If you're gonna do that, go to a pro game and talk. You can go ahead and say all you want to pro guys, but these are kids, man. I mean, you don't just do that. But I'd also like to say that Marcus Smart is not the first athlete to have something yelled at him. Like, come on, man. You gotta have better control than that. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sure much worse things have been said to athletes. I mean, Jalen Rose got caught at a crack house, and the U of I students chanted, like, crack house at him. And he didn't, he just took it upon himself to play better. He didn't go run in the stands. I mean, come on, you got to have more self-control. I'm not defending Marcus Smart at all. He's 100% in the wrong in this situation.
I think. Jesus.
I would say they're both in the wrong because I'll finish my point and then I'll let Josh go. I like we said, I've touched on things that my experience as a fan and things I've said, and you're right. I'm their age. When I was in the red zone, which is the basketball student section, it's a much different atmosphere because I think players expect that from a student section. Because that's what that's supposed to be. I know in our student section, like probably many across the nation, we had what they're called cheat sheets, which is basically 5 or 6 people dig on social media or through bios or whatever and dig up dirt on players and print it out and hand it out to the student section, and then throughout the game you razz them on it. I know that when Nebraska played Oregon in 2011, there was in Lincoln, there was a thing on the cheat sheet about E.J. Singler, about his mom played volleyball, I think, at Oregon State. His dad played football at Oregon State, and of course his brother played basketball at Duke. And right in front of where I was sitting, Oregon was inbounding with E.J. Singler, and it was pretty quiet in the arena, and E.J.'s a foot in front of me, and I yelled at him. I said, "How does it feel to be 4th best in your family?" Nice. And I know he heard. He like turned around and kind of looked at me, but he didn't. I don't really know if he knew where it came from. But that's something I've said to a player. It's kind of an awful thing to say because I would never say that to him outside of competition. But
it's part of it.
It kind of is, but at the same time, it's kind of stupid. Like, why should I say that to that person? Like,
because you're a fan and you're in the game. I don't know. I get it.
Well, then then why shouldn't I just don't think that's it's kind of a stupid thing to do, but I think it's quote unquote more acceptable for me to do it, I guess, because I'm his age. But I don't know. It's different for basketball too because you are so close to the players in basketball. In football, you're separated a little bit, so if you yell something, chances of them hearing it are very low. But in basketball, you're right there. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'd say the context and the fact that they were, not playing well and that it was their 4th straight loss and that Marcus Smart's been shooting like something like 18% or 20%, something just ungodly over that stretch since he hurt his, I want to say, wrist or hand. I think that definitely played a big role into the fact that, he was already on edge. He hit the deck hard, then he was so close. But again, I'm not going to defend him or the fan. I would say they're both 100% in the wrong, and nobody wins coming out of this. I will say it was shocking that he wasn't ejected by the officials.
What the hell was that?
The one technical made absolutely no sense, and that could have been where things did escalate further, like a Ron Artest. So that was just, I don't know, that was stupid.
I think the Big 12's official ruling on that is that the referees can't technically rule on anything that happened outside the court, but at that point you gotta just. I know it's meaningless because it was 4 seconds left in the game, but you gotta get him out of there. Just remove the situation, remove the problem, and get him out of there. But
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with the ejection part. That was kind of odd. But also to you, Batty, I don't know necessarily if he was 100% in the wrong. I do think both of them were in the wrong, but this is kind of a different scenario. If he did get called the N-word, I feel like this is going to get a different conversation, but if that did happen, I wouldn't think he would be in the wrong at all. That's just honestly me getting a personal opinion here, but
I agree with that.
Yeah, but
well, here's the thing: we're 6 white dudes talking about how we would react to a racial comment, but my only argument is he's not the first athlete to ever get called that.
But I still don't think that makes it different. I'd still think if more of a personal contact, a lot closer, a guy's shouting down.
I don't know if it makes a difference.
Like I said, we're 6 white dudes talking about how we would feel about being called a word that obviously does not affect us at all. So we can't really give proper context on that. But again, he is not the first athlete to get screamed at by some drunk, dumb, old fan.
Yeah.
There
were other factors in it too. Yeah, but the thing that was weird to me was he seemed so certain that he said it. That was why I believed him initially. Then I saw that video where I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I didn't hear that at all. I heard the piece of crap, but who knows?
What video are you talking about? Just plug for the listeners where they can find the video that you're talking about.
Texas Tech released a video on Sunday of from their I guess they're probably their in-arena video, what they use for their video board on the baseline, and the cameraman gets pretty much ran over, and you can hear the audio interaction, and you can hear him say you're a piece of crap or what a piece of crap or something. There's really nothing else intelligible out of the audio, and some people have questioned whether or not Texas Tech is kind of the athletic department
doctored it?
Not doctored it, but just edited it up so that is more, listenable than other parts of the video. From listening to the video, I don't think that he said anything racial, because I don't think you could just cover that up with just regular crowd audio. Everything else sounds natural. He said you can hear him clearly say, you're a piece of crap or what a piece of crap, whatever it was he said. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's the video. If you just Google it, it's probably type it in on YouTube. It's probably one of the first 5 videos. If you type in Marcus Smart pushes fan, yeah, it's a straight-on view of the other side of the court. So obviously it won't look like a broadcast, so you'll know what one you're looking for.
Okay, that's. I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the suspension was 3 games, right? I don't want to get that wrong, right?
Yeah.
3 games. That's 3 regular season games. Does that go into the conference tournament at all?
No. It actually comes back the next time they play Texas Tech.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, he only misses a game versus Texas, versus Oklahoma, and then versus Baylor. So yeah, his next game will be versus Tech, and it'll be at home. But he'll be back in time for them to play Kansas and Iowa State, which, I mean...
Yeah, 2 of the tougher ones compared to...
Regardless of the way that their schedule plays out, I think that it should have been a little bit longer. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I think 3 games is a little too lenient. 5, at least, in my opinion. Perhaps the rest of the regular season. I mean, yeah, like I said, you put your hands on somebody. I think that 3 games is just a little too lenient for my liking. But again, it's like I said, this situation's unprecedented, so it's kind of hard to blame the amount of games that he got. It's kind of, like I said, being on the outside looking in, it's easy to say that he should have got more.
I'm personally of the school, and I'm usually mostly on the athlete side for stuff like this. I'm never really on management side, fight the power type stuff. But man, 3 games is nothing. Like that's nothing. I'm more of the. He should have been done. He should be done for the year. Just you can't do that. That's like
done for the year.
Done for the year. Done for kick him out. Get him done.
Like tournaments, like everything included.
Everything done. He's off. He's done.
I said 3 games is too lenient, but I think the whole year is too harsh. Like it's
okay.
He didn't assault this fan. You know, he just shoved it. If you shove another player, you're probably getting a couple games.
That's a player, though. There's 2 people you can't touch: the refs and the fans. That's like rule number 1 of sports.
I don't know, man.
I kid him. I don't think because 3 games. So now this sets a precedent for the next guy who gets called a piece of crap and decides to just flip his lid, and he think, oh, okay, well, I'll just go into the stands and push some guy. And I know he was pushed in, but man, he didn't really go that far into the crowd. He stood up and walked up to that guy. He went after a fan. I don't know. I'm so shocked that this isn't more of like a deal. I really honestly am.
He didn't really go after a fan. He pushed a guy, but he ended up in the dude's lap just in the way that the game played out. Like, he was going to the hole, and it's not like he sought that guy out.
He did. He went. He was not like 3 rows in. He took a couple steps in.
Yeah, he walked to that guy.
I'll rewatch a clip.
I'll concede the fact that he was in the stands to begin with because he was off the court.
Yeah, maybe he took an extra step or 2 to get in the guy's face, but I'm not saying he went Ron Artest it and walked up.
No.
One thing to mention about this fan is that there's been other incidences where he has had interactions with the players, so he kind of has this reputation as an infamous type super fan, like we mentioned earlier. But it's not for support of his own team. It's more so getting in the heads of other the other team's players.
It worked.
Yeah, I saw Dick Vitale tweeted something along the lines about this guy, saying that he's done it before, and Dick Vitale's seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
Not to this level, but not that Dick Vitale is the most believable guy in the world either. But for somebody to say that they've seen it before doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I guess I kind of have a little bit of knowledge of the Big 12 because Nebraska was in the Big 12 for so many years until recently. So I've seen Nebraska
resident
play.
Big 12 expert.
So I've seen Nebraska play, football and basketball games down at Texas Tech, and they do have some fans that are, it's less about cheering on the Red Raiders and more about cheering against whoever they're playing. So their fans kind of have this proceeding about them about they're going to be in your ear all night.
But all of a sudden, these are the only. This is the only guy who's ever said bad things to a player.
No, but but this guy and this fan base already has a reputation about them for being some very rude individuals. Not just the kids, not just the students. Students everywhere are going to do that. We're talking about the full-fledged boosters, donors, just random people who bought a ticket that night, being some really, really, really mean people.
I just don't think there's no excuse. I think everybody can make all the excuses for Marcus Smart as you will, but there really is no excuses.
I'll jump in on suspension because I didn't get to address that. My view of it, 3 games probably a little too lenient. 5 max is what I would say. I don't want to get into the situation where I saw people talking about what could have happened, because you can't punish based on if it escalates, because you're not punishing the action, you're punishing a situation that might have happened. That's like getting pulled over for speeding and getting charged with drunk driving or something, because that could have happened. No, well, it didn't happen. I don't know. I also don't know if I like punishing based on setting a precedent, because I don't think it's going to be enough of a problem. I don't think there's going to be a player that's thinking, man, this guy's really bugging me, and if I push him, Marcus Smart only got 3 games.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think anyone's going to think like that, though.
If I were I've been, I've played sports. We all have played sports. And if you particularly remember, and this is apparently a guy that players particularly remember, and there's some school, and you're going to be seeing this fan, and he's going to be giving you the business all night, And really, all you got to do is kind of fall into the crowd, and you can go up and push him and get 3 games. And you're not. I guarantee there's some people thinking about that.
I don't think that's what. I just don't see that happening. And you know what else? I want to mention just because it's relevant that the fan who got pushed and yelled at Marcus Smart said that he won't attend any more basketball games the rest of the season, which I guess is fair because he
doesn't want to get attacked.
He instigated the situation, and if he wasn't there, this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get his seat switched, maybe someplace along the sideline, maybe a higher place. I mean, it's a realistic possibility. They might put him in a place where he can't be affecting the game like that anymore. I know on the back of every ticket of every Nebraska event I've ever gotten, it says, we reserve the right to revoke access based on your behavior or something to that effect. So Texas Tech is probably fully capable of just forcing this guy to sit somewhere else in the arena if he wants to continue attending games, which I don't blame him if he does. I think it's smart of him to not go for the rest of the season because he is guilty, just as guilty as Marcus Smart is, because they both did some stupid things on Saturday night.
Chris, you got something to say on this subject?
I guess I kind of am in between. Like the 3 games probably isn't enough, and I don't think that he probably should be suspended for the season. I guess kind of what I was thinking when it happened was it was obviously not as violent, but it kind of like the Garrett situation at Oregon when they played at Boise, with the punch of the player after the game, and I thought Garrett Blount got like 7 or 8 games is what it ended up being, and I thought that was probably about the direction that Marcus Smart would get, and I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't like between 5 and 7 maybe, because it wasn't as violent, but it was also a fan and not a player.
How many games do they have left?
I think there's 8.
Including conference tournament, or no? Is that
no? That's just regular season. And like I said, they play. He comes back in time for them to play Kansas and Iowa State, and I think they have TCU, then the other Tech game. And I think there's one more game in there. That was another Big 12 game, but yeah, I think it's 8.
Just to touch on the LeGarrette Blount situation, he did get 7 or 8 games, whatever he got. But if you remember, he was supposed to be suspended for the whole season, and eventually Chip Kelly let him come back to the team, which I'm not saying Chip Kelly made a bad decision, but, at least, I don't know. I mean, I would say that if you're going to suspend someone for something like that, stick with the original suspension rather than if Oklahoma State goes lenient, at least they'll stick with the leniency, I guess.
7 games.
I'm not entirely sure that I think the suspension could have been for the entire year. I think when it was announced, and this wasn't really widely publicized, it was for the year unless he went and completed some.
Yeah, I think there were some conditions to it, but pretty much whatever happened, everyone reported it was a year suspension and whatever. And
some of it is probably not explaining it well enough initially, but some of it's also just lazy kind of reporting where they don't actually say the whole story. They're just like, oh, he's suspended for the year, and that's like the headline grabber, and then they don't see unless he completes certain tasks to get back on the team sooner, which it sounded like he did. So it wasn't necessarily that they went back on punishment, it was more of he just completed whatever they wanted him to complete, and they let him back on the team, which they said that was a possibility.
So does anybody, if we go around real quick, everybody, who thinks that it was the right suspension? Anybody?
I'll lean towards it was the right suspension just because I don't think he should be gone the entire year. I think a couple more games at most.
Brad?
I pretty much agree with that. I mean, 3 to 5 would have been fine. I'm not upset really with 3, but I don't think the whole year, that would have been a little too much, in my opinion.
Josh? You've been pretty quiet on this.
Well, I'm exactly like what Brad was saying. I think anywhere from 3 to 8 would have been acceptable. 3 to 8 games. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm not too mad either way. So.
Man, I don't know. I thought they should have laid the hammer down. This is setting too lenient of a thing, man.
The only reason I have a problem with that is if the fact that he's claiming, I know your counterpoint is people have been yelled things to. The fact that he's claiming he got called the N-word and a racial slur so close, I can expect someone to react like that. But again, I don't know. But I do think it should have been more than 3 games.
Okay. Now what about his draft stock? Does this talk about, or does this? Oh yeah, that's a good point. Now what about the Arizona State fans spitting on the players? Now do the players have a right to go? Yeah, somebody explain exactly what happened with that, because I'm not exactly.
I read this on Deadspin. The way that Arizona State's arena is set up, the opposing coaches and players, their tunnel is split by the student section on either side. So as they were walking up the tunnel, the students were spitting on them from above, and I guess some coaches got hit or whatever. But that's where I'm talking about. If you're if you're a fan or in a student section or whatever you were in, that's the line. There's a line between being a fan and trying to get into a guy's head versus, being straight out obnoxious, rude, and lewd, and all of them. I mean, that's completely unacceptable fan behavior.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone will disagree with that.
No, I completely agree with that. And another thing just about spitting is you can actually be charged with assault for spitting on people. And I mean, not that it's not the same as getting punched, but it's a very despicable act, and that's way different. I don't blame Smart, because I think I'm a 20-year-old, and if in a heated moment in a game, if someone says something to me like that, I don't blame him for shoving him. He didn't strike him, but getting spit on, I mean I'm really surprised that there wasn't a bigger deal made out of that, because that's uncalled for completely.
I think there might have been a bigger deal more to that. It kind of got overshadowed when Marcus Smart did the thing with the fan. Like, it seemed like some of the Oregon writers were talking about it on Twitter, and it kind of had been picked up, but not really by the national media. And then after the Marcus Smart thing happened, it kind of just totally got glossed over. And I was actually, it almost seemed like the Oregon kid, I don't know if spit on, spit at, it sounded like he almost went into the stands after somebody, and I was like, there's no way that he should be back on the court for the second half. And then this came out after the game, and I was like, that kind of makes sense as to why he was mad then.
Yeah, it keeps going back to, like, I understand he's an emotional 20-year-old in an emotional game. He's playing like crap. His team's playing like crap. The season's slipping away from him. But he's not the first, and I don't understand where all of these excuses are coming from.
I wasn't talking about Marcus Smart. I was talking.
No,
about
I know. I know. I was talking about you, but I think spitting on and is a completely that's terrible. That's not okay.
I mean, you have a point though too. I mean, if all that was said was a piece of crap and he reacted that way, I mean, there seems a little something wrong with him himself and his.
Like I said earlier, I don't want to say that. I don't want to speculate, but I doubt that all that fan said to Marcus Smart was that he was a piece of crap. I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about all night. He probably heard more than that from him.
But that still shouldn't excuse it. I don't think it's excused. I don't think it's excused if it's a racial slur. If there wasn't anything
even
but
then, I don't think there's anything such as fighting words, but I just think it's evenly placed on the blame. I blame both guys 100% for what happened. I blame the fan for running his mouth, and I blame Marcus Smart for having a very poor reaction to it. Should he have handled it better? Yes. Should that fan have just shut his mouth? Yes. So that's my whole opinion on the thing. I don't excuse Marcus Smart for his actions. I don't think they're justified in any way. I just think that the fan has just as much blame in it, though.
We're all divided.
Agree to disagree on that, but real quick, does this, if you're an NBA GM, does this affect you drafting Marcus Smart, or does this have any effect on it?
This lone incident, no.
I would say no. I would think his downfall of shooting the three and his overall play is just going to affect his game. I don't see him translating well to the NBA at all.
I didn't.
His floppings never look better though.
Yeah,
so.
Which that's NBA style right there.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, this guy's clearly a hothead. I mean, this isn't his first incident so far this season. I mean, what did he do? He was kicking chairs. He's been crying.
Yeah.
All he does is ever cry every time I ever watch them play. I mean, this guy's clearly needs to get his emotions in check before he goes to the pros. Because if you start doing this in the pros, oh my God, yeah, you're not getting a little weak, nice little 3-game suspension where everybody in America makes an excuse for you. I mean,
your ass whooped.
You're not getting off the bench. Yeah, you're not getting off the bench. I mean, if you even do this stuff in practice, like you can't be that. I mean, it's not like he's some crazy talented dude in the first place. I mean, he's obviously better at basketball than I am, but I mean, if we're putting everything in perspective, yeah, well, I don't know. Ryan, go ahead.
I would say that this incident in a bubble doesn't affect his draft status. If you're just taking what happened on Saturday, as a lone thing, it doesn't. His overall play this year, along with some of his previous blow-ups, whether it be on the sideline or whatnot, it knocks him out of lottery status for sure. It knocks him probably to middle, late first round. I would say that for the most part, I think that I'm trying to think how I want to word this. He's not going to find much more hostile environments in the NBA. I would say college basketball venues are probably more hostile than NBA venues. Just because it's cheaper to go, you're going to have more of you have more of the college-age kids, and this is Lubbock, Texas, where it's not, the Garden where it's just celebrities lining the floor and they're not really into the game. You have these people who are, alums and fans and quote-unquote super fans going to these games, and their main goal is to get into these players' heads. So I think that, it's not going to be a huge problem as far as fan interaction in the NBA, I guess. I don't think it'll ever happen again with him, because I don't think he'll be that stupid to go and get into it with a fan twice. But
you'd think that.
I guess. So.
I think for his game, like translating to the pros and everything, it's a lot of guys don't pan out when they make it to any professional sport, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But I think for a guy like Marcus, maybe he'll learn from his mistakes, and like Ryan was saying, he's not going to have that up-close fan interaction, and if he does, it's going to be people who are paying thousands upon thousands of dollars to sit that close, so you would hope that those people would be a little bit more reserved and stuff, and hopefully a kid like Marcus learns from his mistakes. Like, I have a mock draft up in front of me just for kicks, and right now it looks like, according to this person who did this draft a week ago, it says that Marcus Smart's coming to Boston to play shooting guard, and yeah, I mean, the kid can play, but for right now, like Josh said, maybe his play will get him, pushed further down in the draft. Maybe he'll just play himself out of a high draft slot. It's not because of what happened now. His play was slacking anyway. So pile that on top of what happened this past weekend, then there's not necessarily a working formula for Marcus Smart right now. So the kid needs to right his ship and see what works for him, because what he's doing right now ain't working.
I think you guys are both underestimating big time the stuff he's going to hear in the pros rather than in college. And I know sometimes college may get a little. I think you guys are severely underestimating the stuff that he's going to hear the same stuff, and especially now, especially after he did this, how many fans are going to go out of their way to.
But the fans that say that type of stuff in NBA games tend to not sit right next to the court, is the thing. They tend to be like in the second level.
I don't know. I mean, I've had one experience. I sat courtside at a Bulls game one time. I wasn't like front row courtside. I was on the court, but I was like 4 rows back. And I don't know, man. I heard plenty of stuff get said to these players. I mean, and a lot of the times it's like businesses that own these seats, and then those businesses give them to like families, and then those like it'll be like a lot of times like 20-something-year-olds who end up scoring these seats from like their mom's boss or something. it's not always, the guys in suits and stuff. It's not Staples Center isn't everywhere. Let's just put it that way.
No, I agree with that to a point. I would say that, I think sometimes if you're in the NBA, I think it's probably a little easier to block that because then it's part of your job, I guess. But in college, it might be a little tougher because you're not getting, you're just a student athlete. So to hear some guy, just rip on you for 2 hours is probably a little tougher to take especially if you're losing the game and you're just kind of slipping away. So I think people in the pros probably take it a little more. The players probably take it a little more. It's part of the job to get razzed on. Guys like Kobe eat that up. That's motivation for them. So
Reggie Miller.
Maybe when he gets Reggie Miller, maybe when he gets to the NBA, that kind of flips on. He's like, okay, this is just part of the game now.
He's not all of a sudden going to be not a hothead.
No, not necessarily. Like I said, I don't think he'll ever. I find it highly unlikely he ever has a fan-player interaction like that ever again.
He might also have. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
I don't think that's ever going to happen again. So I don't think it's something that it's not a red. It's a red flag, but it's not like, well, this guy's going to be pushing fans around when he gets to the NBA. No, not even Ron Artest has gone into the stands ever again. It's not. Lightning doesn't strike twice.
So also, ideally, he'll be on a team that actually has some leadership, unlike Oklahoma State seems to not have, I guess is probably more of the term.
Where the biggest hothead on the team is the leader?
That was a question I was going to
not just
pose.
that, but even Travis Ford kind of seems like he's in over his head with this team, with the Stevie Clark thing, getting arrested twice in 5 weeks. And
that was a question I was going to pose was, do you think that if Marcus Smart goes to an environment in the NBA, where do you think is a good environment where Marcus Smart will get some good leadership or something and maybe can right his ship and develop into a good NBA player? Because I don't think that's what I think. Yeah, like Chris said, I don't think he's getting very good leadership from Travis Ford or any of his teammates. It's kind of they're kind of running roughshod at Oklahoma State right now because Travis Ford does seem in over his head. He has a very talented team, and it's just kind of crumbling because there doesn't seem to be any leadership there.
The only answer to that is the Cavs.
Oh my God!
Cavs get the #1 pick again. Take Marcus Smart.
They would too. That's I don't know. The GM got fired, so maybe they'll figure it the hell out.
It's that little kid, man.
It would be way late in the first round for this, but San Antonio would be a great fit.
He's no way he's gonna fall that far.
No,
he won't fall that far. But
that's the problem.
He wouldn't have to play immediately. He could work on his game. They obviously have leadership there. It would be a great fit for him. He won't fall that far, but that would probably be his ideal spot.
I mean, the NBA is kind of a weird league anyway, because the last of the guys who are considered to be good leaders are pretty much on their last legs. I mean, I look at how the Celtics just got rid of Pierce and Garnett, and I would have said that would have been ideal. Those guys don't mess around. You come in, they kind of give them the Rondo treatment and say, dude, we're gonna let you play, but we're not gonna let you screw around off the court and stuff like that. But maybe he can go to OKC or something. I mean, that city doesn't have much to offer in terms of nightlife and all that crap. Maybe he can just focus on ball. Maybe KD can kind of steer him in the right direction. Plus,
That's his
he's
only
already
shot.
in Oklahoma, so what it won't change his environment all that much. So you never know.
His only shot is going to a team like that, but he's gonna get picked high enough where he's.
Hopefully, he goes to Milwaukee or something then, where there's literally nothing to do.
God, Jesus Christ. Should we move on to everyone's favorite segment of the week, Brian's bad jokes?
Yes.
I guess we don't have a choice, do we?
I got 3.
I love your jokes, by the way.
Concerning me, thank you. I appreciate that.
That makes one of us both.
Episode.
Okay. 1, Marcus Smart, more like Marcus Big Dumb Idiot. Second one, who does he think he is? Scarface? Because he sure pushed it to the limit. And then this one's not that great. Jeff Orr, shouldn't he be in a boat somewhere? Why is he at a basketball game?
That was your best one.
That was the end of the Brian's bad joke segment. Tune in next week to find out, to hear some more. All right, let's move on. So this one's kind of a hashtag hot sports takes issue, but by popular demand, we've been told to speak on it.
Doing it for the people, man.
That's what we do here. I'm all about the people. We're the people's champs. Michael Sam, he's a NFL draftee to be. He's a prospect. He's looking to get drafted. He just came out and said he was gay, openly gay player. Probably first openly gay player in the league. Couple questions this brings up. Does this affect his draft stock? How will he be accepted in locker rooms? Did he do this just for publicity? So I don't know. There's a lot of questions to bring up here. So let's kick it to Josh, because I know he's been dying to talk on this.
Absolutely.
So let's see what you got to say about this.
I think it's kind of crazy in today's age that this should be a story, but it is. That's the reality of it. Again, I don't care. I don't think people should care. Draft stock, I don't think it will affect him at all. I think that's irrelevant to me and for GMs. And then, I mean, he'll probably be taken, what are they saying, the 4th to 7th round. I don't think it'll affect him at all. I do like his play, though. Like, he killed Florida this year, but I mean, I like his play at linebacker if he could get into a nice fit, which he may, falling late. But
Brad?
Yeah, I mean, all I care about is if the dude can play football. I give him props for being the first to come out and do it, because you're going to have ignorant people that, will say the dumb stuff that's been said already, I'm sure, all over message boards and everywhere like that. But, I mean, going off what Josh said, I understand why it's important, because it's the first of its kind. It's a major thing, but it's sad that it should be that people care about someone's sexual orientation. In the NFL, I care about if the player is fun to watch and if he can play football, and I'm pretty sure that's how most of the locker rooms are going to be as well.
2.0.
I think it's easy for us to say that we would be accepting of a guy who is openly gay in the NFL and stuff, and I think that a lot of guys who are in locker rooms and who are in management and CEO positions in that league are kind of like the Southern good old boys who kind of frown upon that lifestyle. And by no means good for Mike. That's it's a really courageous thing that he did. By no means do I think it was publicity. But I definitely think the kid's got an uphill battle, and it's not because of his play on the field, but with him coming out, there's going to be a lot of guys who are already in the pros who don't accept him as much as his teammates at Missouri did. Because if the story is true that he told his teammates in August that they were rallied behind him and stuff like that, I mean, the kid was co-defensive player of the year in the SEC, which is a pretty big deal. So the kid can clearly ball. So it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for him in terms of social stuff and the stigma against him. It's like, oh man, this guy likes dudes, like he's not one of us. If the guy can play, the guy can play, and that's easy for us to say, but I definitely think he's got some tough sledding in front of him.
OG?
I guess touching on the draft stock thing, I saw some anonymous GM, which seems to be the new hot sport take, is the anonymous GM.
I hate anonymous GMs.
Saying that it's necessarily the fact that he's gay that might cause his draft stock to drop. It's going to be the questioning his quote-unquote intelligence because of the timing of it, which there is not a good time to necessarily come out and say this. I think he kind of wanted to get ahead of it because he thought it was probably going to come out that he is gay in the draft lead-up thing, which I think that almost would be worse for him than it would be good on his own terms, because then he has to deal with a bunch of people asking, is this true, and instead he can be like, yeah, it's definitely, like, he already came out and said it, now he can just deal with, like, it obviously didn't affect Missouri that much. They had a great season compared to what anybody thought it was going to be. He was as we said, the co-defensive player of the year, so it didn't affect him at all really on the field, which that would be what I would care more about, but I know that some quote-unquote anonymous GMs definitely will think of it a different way I think kind of like we were saying with Marcus Smart, it's probably going to be he has to get into a locker room that kind of has the same type of leadership that apparently Missouri had, which there seems to be more of that in the NFL than there does in the NBA, where they have strong not just player leadership but coach leadership, and they would not tolerate like people not necessarily asking them about it, but like just tolerate like players getting on them about it or that type of thing, which that's probably a bigger deal than fans, I would think, at this point, because in the NFL, fans are pretty far away from the field. And also, I think Brandon McCarthy on Twitter is saying he doesn't really know how this is going to be a distraction, like especially after games. Like it's not like reporters are really going to be coming into the locker room and being like, so what's it like to have a gay teammate? Or at least they really shouldn't be. And if they are, that's kind of not a very good journalist.
One environment, and this might be a hometown plug for me. I mean, if the kid got drafted by the Pats, I think because the Patriots have this no-nonsense attitude when it comes to the media, like Belichick doesn't let them speak about anything. So if Belichick got asked about, what's it like to have a gay player on the team, he would just be like, he's on the team, he does his job, that's it. Like that's the whole thing, you know what I mean? So maybe it would be good for him to come to a place like where the media isn't such a big deal. Like I said, I've seen this for God knows how long. It's just Belichick would turn the media away, and maybe it would do the kid a favor, and they could focus on his play on the field instead of what he does off of it. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I don't know how you guys feel about that. So,
Ryan, jump in.
I would love to have Michael Sam play on my team. I think I've watched Missouri play football, or I've watched Missouri games, and I've seen Michael Sam. He seems like he doesn't seem like he is a very good player. He's obviously, like everyone's mentioned, co-defensive player in the SEC this past year, which is not an easy task. And I couldn't care less what his sexual preference is. And I don't think that, for the people who say, this shouldn't be a story, it should, because it's the first active, or potentially active, I guess, because he hasn't been drafted yet, but he will be, the first active NFL player to come out as gay in league history. That's a story. And you know what the thing is, though? That the next one won't be a story because it eventually will become a non-issue. That's kind of the thing where people are forgetting with this, is that if you don't want it to become a story, that's great, because it's not going to be a story anymore, because, it's about who's not, it's about, the first person to do it, not, so I don't think it'll be an issue in the locker room. I think, locker rooms are, on the whole, majority accepting of a player as long as you're able to play. So there might be a couple lone, idiots who spout their mouths off, and they'll be dealt with.
That'll happen anywhere, yeah.
Exactly, and they'll be dealt with by the league and whatever. But I think there won't be a huge problem with it, nor should there be. As long as a guy can play, I don't see what sexual preference has to do on the field. I know that sounds kind of ignorant, because it should, I guess, but I mean that's literally all it comes down to.
No, you're right.
I kind of think it does. I mean, I know it's not ignorant to say it, but it kind of sounds like, oh, I don't care. They can do what they want as long as they can play. It just sounds very, I don't know. There's something off about it, but that's kind of how you should feel, though.
No, I think really what it comes down to, and guys can quote anonymous sources all they want to get retweets and stuff, and I'm pretty sure anonymous source is code name for I'm making this shit up.
Let me jump in on the anonymous source thing.
Yeah, sure.
And how much that just pisses me off, that this guy has the courage to come out and do something that hasn't been done and come out as gay, and then you have these handful of people hiding behind anonymous and saying, well, I wouldn't draft this guy, or this brings baggage to my team, or this really hurts the locker room. That's bullshit. Put your name behind what you have to say if you're going to say something like that.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it was actually said. I think that's just a reporter trying to get views. Because we could bring up anonymous sources on here all we want. My anonymous source told me that the Bears are going to draft. I have no idea. I can't even make anything up right now. I just hate anonymous GMs.
I think some of the anonymous GM thing, because this was a Sports Illustrated article that it came out in. I think a lot of it is teams don't really want to give away the draft strategy, even though it's pretty obvious. Which I get that it just kind of makes a really bad article if you're just quoting anonymous sources the entire time. So I kind of wish that at least somebody would come out and say, "Oh yeah, I don't know why he would do this," or something like that, which you probably wouldn't want to be a GM that said that anyway, so probably not going to contribute to the if you have to put your name to it. But I think if that's all you have is anonymous sources, just don't even write the article.
Yeah, well, ever since that summer of 2010 with all those NBA players, sports media has been sent back about 7,000 years in the way it's covered. I don't want to harp too much on what everybody else has made just about the same points that I've made. I just want to say that in the NFL, and I think I'm almost positive this is true, and I am obviously not in the GM meetings in the staff room and everything, but if you can play, you can play, and they want you on their team, regardless of what you are, who you are. I just think in the NFL it's such like strict business for most teams, besides obviously like the Cowboys and stuff like that. But I think that most teams are just strict business. If you can play, you can be on the team. They really don't care like what, you know what I mean? I just think that that's really what it comes down to. And he may have said this at a curious time, but whatever, good for him. I don't really want to harp on this topic too much.
I'm just so happy that Michelle Obama tweeted about how great of a man he is. I was so happy to hear what she had to say. It was awesome.
I was actually just wondering, like, what does Michelle Obama think about that?
Just look anywhere. It's going to be advertised on there.
Okay, good. I'm so glad about that.
You can go and tell everybody. He's the man. He's the man. He's the man.
All right. I think we've all said enough about that subject. Let's get to our favorite segment. Who you got? Our second favorite segment, obviously, besides Brian's bad jokes. Who you got?
Dude, this isn't your favorite segment either. You sucked last week.
You know what I did? Let's run through the records real quick. I went 2-3. Brad, absentee ballot, went 4-1. Chris, OG, 3-2. New Chris on the block went 4-1. Credit to Brad for that one. Ryan 3-2 and Josh 4-1. So let's get to the games. We got three college games, 2 pro games. Let me get my pen here so I can write this down. Let's go to the first one. I'll introduce the first one, and then everybody take turns introducing the games, just like we did last week. It's a family show. Michigan at Ohio State. And let's start the bidding. Well, I'll just pick my pick. I'm gonna go Ohio State.
I'll take Ohio State, but I think this game is interesting with Michigan coming off a really bad loss to Iowa, so I think it'll make it a little tougher, but I'll go with Ohio State.
Fight me about it.
Speaking
I predicted it.
Brad, then what do you got?
I got Michigan.
Michigan.
Woo!
Okay, OG?
I'll say Aaron Kraft and Ohio State at home.
And Ryan?
Io.
Is that what is that? Michigan? I don't know what you just said.
Yes, that's Michigan.
All right, Josh, you go ahead and announce the next game.
Dude, what about me? What am I freaking?
Oh my God! Well, you already sent me my picks. I already had it written down. Go ahead.
Just for the listeners' sake, I think Michigan redeemed themselves after that abortion of a game they played last weekend. So yeah, go blue.
Okay.
All right.
My bad. I won't do that again. I'm sorry.
Oh man, dude, I'm just gonna hang up now. See you guys later.
All right, let him in.
We got Okie State at Texas. I'm just gonna go Texas here. Seems easy.
I'll jump in and say I think Texas as well, with the Oklahoma State struggles and no Marcus Smart on the road. I don't see them winning or even being that close.
All right.
Not so fast. Oklahoma State wins.
Boom.
LeBron Nash drops probably 70 or maybe like 25 and 10. I don't know.
70.
Because those are the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ewing theory though, I got Oklahoma State winning.
Wow.
Bold claim, sir.
I agree with that. I think it's a Ewing theory candidate game because I don't think Marcus Smart is that good, and I think that I think Oklahoma State wins, and I think they play better without Marcus Smart.
Yeah, I got Texas. Again, I think without Smart and, all the attention, maybe these kids get, a little bit flustered and whatever. Just give me the Horns.
I'll go hook 'em.
For Vince Young. Just for Vince Young.
Yep.
Save Vince Young Foundation.
That guy is so bankrupt.
The invite is still
Hey,
open.
also, by the way, thank you to our listeners. I got an email from the Save Vince Young Foundation, and you guys have accumulated to donate $16.87 total.
Which
so
is
far.
enough for like 3 McDonald's meals for
That's
it.
right. So
Bottle of
thank you very much, guys, and keep those donations coming. It's a great cause. Who wants to do the next one?
Next we got Duke and North Carolina, classic rivalry game in college basketball. I am going to go with Duke. I think Duke gets it done. North Carolina's been too up and down this year. I think Jabari Parker has a big game.
I'll go Duke on this one.
Yeah, I think.
You can
Sorry.
go ahead.
I think. Yeah, I got Duke too. I mean, Carolina's been so Jekyll and Hyde all year. They just don't have it in them to beat Duke.
I think Duke will win too, but this totally would be the type game that UNC would get up for, which kind of scares me, but I still think Duke has too much talent for North Carolina this year.
I'm picking... Oh, this is at UNC. Wow, I just now realized that.
No, it's at Duke.
It's at Duke?
Isn't it?
No, it's at UNC.
No, it's at UNC.
Okay.
At
Well,
UNC.
I'm an idiot.
Well, this is tough because UNC's been playing a lot better lately. Give me UNC beats Duke.
No, he did it.
Dude,
And the
did that
best-
little piece of you inside just die because you hate
I
the Tar
know,
Heels,
I
bro?
know. In the best rivalry in all of sports, by the way. So we'll leave that one there. Daddy, what do you got?
This one's tough because, like you said, UNC has been playing better.
And it's at UNC.
That's what I mean. I had it written down wrong. So in when I was crunching my numbers earlier, I completely have to throw all those out the window. Let's stick with the odd hand. Let's go UNC. Big
I
upset.
like it.
Big upset.
Dude,
I'm with the
kids,
winner.
You kids and your bold claims.
We do.
All right, next on tap.
Wait. Hold on. We got
Did OG
Chris,
go
right?
yet?
Yeah, OG. What do you got?
Yeah.
My bad.
I think he
No, I said no.
He said UNC.
I
said Duke. I said Duke.
Oh,
did
he
you?
said-
I
he said
didn't
Duke.
write it down.
Sorry.
I'm an idiot. My bad. Go ahead.
He said something. I know that.
New Chris on the block. Go ahead.
All right, next up, we're going to the NBA. We got the Mavs at the Pacers. Brad, we'll start with you.
I got Indiana at home. I think they're 25-2. I want to say. I think they got this.
All right, Ryan, what do you got, bud?
I got Pacers in this one.
Yeah. All right. So OG, going to you, bud. You there, Chris? You
Oh no.
Wait, I guess I'll go out. I think Indiana's going to win.
All right. And then
Indy for me. Indy for Josh.
Josh.
Indy.
All right. Brian, what
Easy.
you got, bud?
What day is this on? Does anybody remember?
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter.
Shut. All right.
Indy.
All right.
Could be
It's
Wednesday. I
over.
don't
It's
know.
over.
Like I want to try. All right.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Pacers. All right, whatever. That's no fun. No, you know what? That's
I'm
no
helping
fun
you
at all.
out.
I'm going Mavericks. I'm trying to pick. I'm gonna pick up that game.
See,
Dude,
you're
I love
trying
going
to
against
get
the
the
grain.
edge,
It's so
but you're just
bad.
digging yourself in a bigger hole each time.
You know what? One of these days, one of my dumbass upsets is gonna be right. All right. So
Yeah, I got the Pacers too. After that big win in Portland or against Portland, I think that they just keep the train rolling. All right, Ryan, you got the next one, dude?
Yeah, we got, sticking with NBA, we got Portland at the Clippers, and I think this will be the Clippers in a little bit of a runaway. Not as much as a runaway as they did against the 76ers, but a little bit of a runaway.
I'll take the Clippers with 3 windmills by Blake Griffin.
those alley-oops were so
That was awesome.
sick
That was
yesterday.
awesome.
By the way, I just wanted to anyone who's listening and hadn't seen those, I think YouTube is the channel that you can go see him on, or website.
Give a shout out to Chris Paul for being back too.
Yeah, I got Clip Show. They look great. I mean, Chris Paul didn't have to play very much. Griff didn't play very much, but they came back. They've been playing great ball without him, but I think it's too much for the Blazers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Clippers at home, only because they're at home, if we're being completely honest.
OG.
The Blazers, I believe, this game is Wednesday. I believe they play the Thunder the night before, too, so I believe the Clippers will win this one. They have definitely the talent, and taking game back is always hard, especially when you have to travel. So I'll go with the Clippers as well.
Was that me next? Am I the only one who wasn't going?
Yeah.
Josh, who did you say? I didn't.
I
missed
said
it.
Clippers win.
You guys are all no fun going all the same games or all the
I'm
same and then
trying to
leaving
win.
me
I'm
and then
trying to
leaving me
win.
at the
Mine's
end
the
and then I
lights, bro.
have to
Come
be the
on.
one that like spices it up. Like
You
this
know,
is like this will be number third time this will happen.
Well, don't go
But
last.
this
then.
isn't
It's your
that
Okie
crazy
State
of a
first.
pick.
No, I mean
Not at all. I mean, Blazers are a good team, but
if I'm picking the Mavericks against the Pacers, I gotta pick the Clippers just because I don't want to lose 2 games like that.
I hope Blazers and whoever else you didn't pick wins.
I get.
So the Blazers in Indy
Yeah.
is what you're rooting for.
But then you lose a game, so
I know.
I don't
Hey.
really care anymore.
Dude, at least you don't have anything riding on Clemson this week.
Hey, and listen, I'm about to. Okay. How did that? I don't know. Might have been a bad call by me. I'm gonna throw that out there.
I think it's
Final
pretty much
score of
set in
that game?
stone that was a terrible call. So.
But you know what? I also called that Percy Harvin wouldn't be a factor in the Super Bowl. So I clearly know what the hell I'm talking about.
So maybe you should
Oh,
let Ryan go
dude.
first from now on.
Hey, and
Go against him.
We just bet against what Ryan says. Is that what we're
Yeah,
doing?
you know what? From now on, I'm going first in these, so I don't get stuck. Adding the entertainment to this.
Hashtag Brian's bad picks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was. Oh, by the way, I'm going 5-0 over the weekend for our dunk contest picks, or for our
that's
All-Star weekend picks. Just so you guys know, I'm picking all of those correctly. That was it. That was. I guess that's a good place to wrap this up. That was the next, latest, greatest episode of the Are We Recording podcast. Hit us up on Twitter at AWR Podcast. Our blog should be up by the time we come at you Thursday night. And we're having an All-Star weekend, NBA All-Star weekend, my favorite weekend of the year by far. Blowout special. So be on the lookout for that. And I guess that's it. Go Cubs.
Giddy up.